Hello, all you hardcores out there, how you doing? Russ here from Porky's Corner, the biggest gob in sport. Let's see if we can get this thing here a bit clean. Let's have a look. Let's have a look where we're going wrong here. A bit better, isn't it? Just leave it in camera and that. I'm not fussed about making mistakes in the morning. Here we are, still we're going to bed now. Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua. God. He were never on anyway. All these people keep texting me saying Wilder and Joshua's off. They were never on. If anybody's out there and you think that fight were actually on, you're living in cloud cuckoo land. Let me tell you. Cloud cuckoo land. You know why? Wilder's a 2008 Olympic bronze medalist. Joshua's a 2012 Olympic gold medalist. It's over 15 years since Deontay Wilder won his bronze. Yeah. It's over 11 years since Joshua won his gold. Been umpteen offers put to Joshua. They've even flown Wilder over to be main anchor pundit for Klitschko against Joshua at Wembley, and he were going to fight the winner. That was Eddie Hills. That was nearly 7 years ago. Hey, Joshua's been on slide since that night. Remember, they might have had good intentions on that day to they might have had good intentions on that day to do the business and fight him, but once he got put down by an old man pushing 42-year-old, 18-month on settee, in his 69th fight, once that happened, they were like, oh, everybody were right. Got a glass jaw. Mental problems he's got up here. Nobody's saying he ain't a tough kid and he's threatened a Wilder. No, I think he's probably more threatened at highlight reels and him going like that up to Button Moon. Because that's where he'd be heading money if he fought Deontay. Button Moon. We're off to Button Moon. Follow Mr. Spoon, Button Moon. He'd be following Mr. Spoon, wouldn't he, to Button Moon? That's where Big Meat should end up, wouldn't he? Button Moon. Now, I'm starting to wonder how it's all got away from Eddie, really, and how he believed his own height, especially out there in Saudi. You know, piecing it all together and speaking to people who I trust. And I think he actually thought they got it made out there because he's had the Ruiz fight out there and he had the Usyk fight, didn't he? What people are forgetting, though, is this. The Ruiz rematch, right, were in Saudi, so we're going for 5 of the 6 belts. You know, all the belts Usyk's got now. We were going for them, wasn't it, Joshua? And it didn't work out, did it, for him? And the other one, the Usyk one, that were a rematch, wasn't it, for all the belts? What happened there? Hey, everything was stacked in his favour, but what happened? He didn't win, did it? But what is the common denominator for both of them fights? World Championship belts. Belts are still important, aren't they? Joshua's now been gassed up that much by people saying you don't need belts and all that Eddie believed it, didn't he? But when the push came to the push, when all said and done, Wilder and Fury. Sorry, Wilder and Joshua don't have a belt each, do they? And they don't look to me like they're queuing up to fight an eliminator to get in line. It's too much for a minute. So I don't see that fight ever happening. It was never going to happen anyway. Not when Barry Herman running around like a headless chicken saying he's going to be going nowhere near Joshua. You know, after he put Audley Harrison on button mode. He was one of the first ones to one button mode. After Mr. Spoon. I'm a sod, aren't I, lately? I can't help myself, can I? Going to races tomorrow. So I'm going to get some clobber in a minute. So I'm looking forward to it. We've got a box on the Spartan. So right next to the finish line like last year. But I'm not a gambler, I might have a bet tomorrow. But so I thought I'd get a couple of videos out before. So that'll be it then until next week. I'll be in recovery position. But I think Eddie believed his own hype, didn't he? And Big Meech. He started to believe the hype. But when you're fighting guys like Franklin and Dylan White, but that got cancelled, you know, Fury's leftovers. And your own leftovers because you knocked him out years ago, didn't you, Joshua? When you're fighting guys like that, then Robert Hilarious. Oh, and you've got this bad stigma around Matchroom, isn't there, at the moment? There's a bad stigma about drugs and drug testing and morals and I think, do you know what? I think the Saudis have looked at it and I thought, and I think that they've gone, do you know what? No. I don't think the vibes are good that are coming out of Camp Joshua, are they really, regarding who he wants to fight? And I think a bit of pressure might have been put on the WBC by certain individuals in the sport of boxing to put Joshua in rankings, because I can assure you he probably didn't want that ranking that he's got. It's so high that him and Wilder are going to have to box off to fight Fury, and I think that's beneath him. I think that's where it grates Eddie Hills. But it's like I've said before, and I'm going to say it again. Why can't the Promised Land be Wembley Stadium? Why? It'd be good enough for Prox Grove, wouldn't it? What's up with selling between 80 and 94,000 tickets? Because that's what they'll let you have on any given day, won't they? Depending on transport situation or what work they've got on, or transport police, or Sadiq Khan, the mayor, Joshua's big friend. We'll let him have 94,000 for Wembley for one fight, or will that Fury's fight? Or Joshua's, whether did Joshua do 90,000? So that's how I look at it. No belts. Why not come back to UK, push Wembley Stadium, Old Trafford, Spurs ground, West Ham's ground, Brighton and Hove Albion's ground. There's loads of grounds to do stadium fights. It doesn't all have to be about gazillions in Saudi, because the man in the street can't go to Saudi to watch everything, can he? I certainly will never go out there, ever. I've got wrong temperament to be in a country like that. I have. I'll be coming home if I got it on with one arm or something, or one leg, or an hand missing, or I don't know. There's no. It's too late to appeal, isn't it? I'm going to put a complaint in an appeal. I'm not happy with the decision. You've cut my arm off. It wasn't me that nicked it. It wasn't me that nicked that that dressing gown out at hotel. It weren't. It was Max. He's over there at Breadcrumb. Could cut his arm off, not mine. I'm only joking, but I won't want to be in one of them situations. And I think that if they keep going out there enough, you might see John Fury walking about with one arm or no tongue. I don't know. But it's not a country that you'd want to go to, innit? I've got pals who've been out there. They've had to abandon sports cars. Trust me, they've never gone back. There's no tolerance on all sorts of things. It's not like the UK. You can't just complain, go get a solicitor, no fee over there. So, am I bothered that that fight's not happening? No, because I realised a long time ago that they were never going to fight. He's never really been in with a big puncher, has he? Biggest puncher he's been in with is Vladimir. And we know what happened in that fight, don't we? Old man nearly got him out there. He's biggest puncher. Andy Ruiz is a feather duster man. Look what he did to him. So he can't cope with quickness and he can't cope with power. So they've had to match Joshua, haven't they, from the beginning with old men. Tony Sims and Robert McCracken would have sussed that out earlier on in Joshua's career. He struggles with a bit of speed and power. Now, if you can struggle with speed, you can counter that with timing, can't you? You can also cope with power if you've got a good chin. Now, I don't like to mention this, but I will. The Cobra's got a great chin, hasn't he? He can cope with power, can't he? And he can cope with speed because of timing. And eventually he gets to him, doesn't he? Like he did Jermaine Taylor. He had speed and power. Got to him in the end. Arthur Abraham had power, didn't he? What happened there? Got scored. Butte had both for Southpaw. He got took apart, didn't he? I can go on forever. Joshua ain't got that in his locker. He hasn't. His style's very, very similar to Carl Froch's, but he's not got that mental toughness that you need. You mind Tony Bellew coming out on Froch on Fighting, saying if he fights Wilder and he gets knocked out, he comes back from it and he's not finished. Well, what else could you say, Tony? It was just a matchroom lick feast watching that. I really felt Pert Cobra asking some of them questions because you just can't see further than your bias, can you, Bellew? But getting back to Eddie Hills and the Wilder and Joshua situation, they've never really wanted that fight, unless it were from gazillions. But they all look like they've got egg on the face now, don't they? Eddie looks like he's been royally shafted, doesn't he? Eddie's been proper done up like a kipper, hasn't he? He's had to crawl away and he's now talking Wembley up. I bet Eddie's distraught this morning. Eddie, you've got no belts. No belts. Joshua, there's no Saudi for him. And Canelo's with Al Heyman. Eddie, keep up as a bad job, eh? Could keep digging Katie Taylor up, couldn't you? You've palled O'Hara Davis up, Eddie, haven't you? Is O'Hara going to be plucked like a Buxton chicken? Probably, because this is what happens. People cross the street every now and then, don't they? And I don't know, Bricktop must be having time of his life at the moment. Oh, Bricktop. He's bound to balls it up, though, isn't he? They're bound to be going at it in court soon, aren't they? Furies and Bricktop. It's on cards, isn't it? Everybody Bricktop's ever worked with has had lawyers' letters, haven't they, O'Neilly, everybody? So when did Wilder and Joshua get took off the agenda? Because weren't we led to believe that it were a done deal from Eddie Hills? I mean, what about all them gimps like Gareth A. Davis that were running around saying this is happening before Christmas, that's happening before Christmas, and these are the fights that's happening, and it's all amazing and all that. And what do you mean, Julian McGowan say? Believe it when we see it. Be like Conor Benn fighting on 23rd of September, isn't it, next week? What is all that about? Eh? Tony Sims running down around saying he's cleared to fight in UK. Says whom? To whom? Says that. Who says that? It's rubbish. It's a rubbish. Not cleared to fight in UK. If he were, he'd be on a billboard, wouldn't he? He wouldn't be hanging out at the back of Eddie to get out there in Orlando. Who's going to be interested in that? I don't even think there's an appetite for Conor Benn to fight anybody at the moment. They're talking Eubank and that, but Eubank's in driving seat. He could ask for 60-40 in that fight. And to be honest with you, really, it's a quite dangerous fight, isn't it? A welterweight, 147, against a 160 guy, but really, he's been a champion at 168. Now, we all made a big hoo-ha about Kell Brook fighting Golovkin. That were 147 to 160, jumped 2 weight classes. Well, there's no rehydration clause now, and Conor Benn's got to jump 2 weight classes, but Chris is naturally a bigger lad. So I see him as a massive favourite in that fight. But I don't hear anybody going on about how it's a dangerous fight. It's probably even more dangerous than the other one. You've got an inactive guy, 18-month out at ring now, haven't you? Next month, Conor Benn. Jumping 2 weight classes against a big middleweight. All the recipe for disaster. Again, but on the other side, coins flip now, isn't it? Kennedy and Bob Arum, Frank Warren, Al Heyman. Can they all like come out and just say, look, we're born liars, we're full of poo. They're never going to be an undisputed. Can we come out and just say that and put us out in our misery? And then I can get my head around all this undisputed, because I think Terry Chappendama pointed it out, right, on his podcast. Terry's Take, episode 42. You need to watch that on Poker's Corner. But Terry pointed it out that all this undisputed, and he's been pointing it out for the last 2 years, these undisputed fights, they're parking up the divisions all the way through. Fans want one champion, but it's the time it's taking to get to it, and everybody's parked up, aren't they? Heavyweight division's a joke at the moment, isn't it? But a lot of divisions are a joke, aren't they? Stop chatting rhubarb! Okay. If Joshua don't fight Wilder next, and he's not going to do, where's he going to fight? Watford, Nigeria, Walsall? Where? Are they going to go on a world tour with him like Chris Eubank Senior did? What was that? Wales, South Africa, and Scotland or something? I don't know, but would I like to see Joshua on a world tour? No. What we're going to see, though, is Eddie piping up in the next few days with, it's not about belts, it's about fights. Competitive fights. That's what's going to happen. Who knows? They might get Joshua out 4 times a year and pay him a bit less. It'd be all right if they could do that, wouldn't it? And get some of these other fights with guys in top 10. Because I was looking last night, there's over 60, 70 fights to be made out of the top 20 guys in heavyweight boxing. You could easily make 60 or 70 fights between all of them. But they're all that greedy and that picky and choosy about who they fight. It's like Martin Bacoli, isn't it? They're avoiding him, aren't they? Nobody wants him. He's bogeyman, and he's the new Louis Ortiz, isn't he? But everybody's that picky. It just has a knock-on effect, doesn't it? I come here in the morning and I think, go and go, innit? But I'm on a mission to get my point across regarding this, so we can put things right. And by putting things right, the division needs to be fighting and alive, doesn't it? It's not alive, the division. No, I don't know, but I can see Joshua. I can see this happening. I can see Anthony Joshua having one more fight, and that's calling it a day if he gets beat. If he's in the wrong fight next and he gets flogged, that it's some top 20 guy, 25 guy, I can see him walking. He's that fragile. I can see him walking forever. And then I can see Eddie Hills going. Eddie won't have it to carry on. He'd be like, you know, when old couples get into the 90s and one dies, other one usually in far behind, is it? They've been together that long. I think that's Eddie Hills and Big Meech. If Big Meech gets iced and then retires, I think Eddie will jog on. Will we miss Eddie? Of course we will. Of course we will. But maybe Eddie might disappear and come back then. Because he's going round in circles. He's looking a bit hot and bothered, Eddie. And Eddie, you're looking a bit hot and bothered. You're having to share all your workload with Spotty Frank, aren't you? Who can't even tell his brother-in-law about these drug testing things. Imagine them at Christmas dinner. Oh, you Banks. Little Spotty Frank there. Spotty Frank switching to southpaw when he fought Eddie Hills. Eddie were crashing them shots in on his back, wasn't he? Oh God, Eddie, I'm glad you weren't crashing them big shots in on me. You'd have brought me in half. You feather duster, man. Okie dokie. So peace out, keep on trucking, keep sporting boxing, don't have nightmares. I don't know whether to go to that place where Kel Brook goes for his shoes. I'm sure it's a place in Chesterfield. It's a bit far, isn't it? So I might just go Mecky Market. So I go market and get some 20 quidders. Some sandals like Ben next door. So I get some sandals, Ben. At racers. Can't wear trainers, Porky, and racers. Bad, isn't it? Porky, there, no shoes. Okie dokie. Right. Peace out. Keep on trucking. Keep sporting boxing. Don't have nightmares. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment. And that includes you. Offering to fake me for a fiver this morning. You're blocked. Go set another account up. We'll see you tomorrow. Pop, pop, bang.